again, Christian Forums. This is Milk Drops here. Thought I'd give a video instead of just writing a huge block of text, because I thought this would be more entertaining and interactive for you all. Anyone who's not aware of what I'm doing now, I'm going to be doing video responses for a lot of things, because it's easier than typing. Plus I can do these anytime during the day, and then I can upload them when I get home at night, or when I get to an internet connection. What I'm going to be talking about today is something called privilege. When I went to college for my sociology classes and for my ethics classes, I was introduced to this concept called privilege. And what it means is that a group in society can have a, privilege that a minority or another group might not share. I originally didn't believe in this concept at first. I understood that it happened in varying degrees, but not to the degree that I was meant to accept at face value. The entire concept is that, for example, if you're white, you have less barriers than if you are black. And I can kind of understand this, but I was brought up in northwest Indiana, in the middle of nowhere, where it was a predominantly white group, and I was always told that everyone was equal and that there was never any problems. But I learned from moving to Nashville, living in a predominantly black neighborhood, to living close to Gary, Indiana, and from also going to school in Valpo and Maryville, Indiana, which are predominantly black neighborhoods, that there is quite a stark difference. A lot of it is very subtle and not really something we would even think twice about. A lot of our media does portray black people as being mostly gang-related and poor, and usually involved in some kind of crime. Now, I always chalk this up to just being part of black culture, but I also found out that a lot of it's reinforced by our very own culture, as in the U.S., because considering that African Americans also had to fight for most of their rights, and thanks to institutions called the Jim Crow laws, segregation, there was always a huge barrier for African Americans. So once the slaves were freed through the Emancipation Proclamation, and once segregation was outlawed, and we had the 14th Amendment, it was considered in our zeitgeist of our society that there was no difference anymore. But culturally, we still hold on to differences because black people were the other. And what has tended to happen now is that black people are assumed to automatically have the same rights as everyone else, which they do on paper, but not in social constructs. I don't know if this is really making my case clear, but from what I understood is that there is prejudice against black people that is assumed that they're going to be gang-related, or that drug relation, high crime. And a lot of it is actually caused by the fact that since African Americans in our society, or black people if you prefer, grew up in a situation where they had little to no rights, gained rights, and then were automatically assumed to be able to equate up to white standards, is insane. Now, I understand that there is a lot that I need to go into to fully make my case. That should be a good intro. There's a video below I posted that has a black academic that explains it in a better way than I ever could. But privilege also doesn't just involve race. There's also gender privilege, orientation privilege, class privilege. There's also fat or thin privilege. A lot of it pretty much is that our society is geared towards giving privilege to certain groups, and everyone else lacks that ability. A lot of it has to do with just basically we're human. We like looking at pretty people. We like being associated with rich people. We like being associated with healthy people. And we like to associate with people that are very similar to us. But what ends up happening is, because we have traveled that so far into a certain direction, that we forget about the people that don't fit these molds. And that's just the concept I want to bring up and maybe talk with you guys about. I'll do text responses from here on out about this issue. And if you have any more questions about what I mean, I might be able to say it more clearly in the comments below. Thank you.